What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into episode 176, everybody. I am your host, Sleazeball. Today's episode is going to be my Week 15 Smash Start players, which means players that I think that are going to go nuclear in the fantasy football playoffs with 20 points that are outside the top 10 at their overall position. So not superstar players, not big names, not players that were injured like Puka Nacua that's not in the top 10 overall. These are going to be off my defense statistics I will drop. So you need to pay attention to, I'm going to give a bunch of information here on why I think these players are going to smash this week, and you should get them into your lineups to help you advance to the semifinals next week. Now, before we dive into it, guys, make sure you smash that like. Make sure you hit that subscription. It helps me out a ton. I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support this season. It's been absolutely amazing. Turn that bell on. I will be live Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And Monday, we recap everything. Tons of different shows throughout the week. And if you cannot make any of the shows, you can always drop any comment you want down below. I try to answer every single one of them. That is one of my goals as a content creator all season long, was to help you guys with every single question you had to help you get to where we're at now in the playoffs. So let's dive into my smash starts coming for the quarterfinals here in the fantasy football playoffs. So I'm going to give you 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends that I think are going to smash for 20 plus points. Starting off with quarterback number 1 that I think is going to destroy this week in fantasy football. It's going to be Anthony Richardson, coming fresh off the bye here. So 15.3 points per game, QB 27, so outside the top 10 overall there. 1,511 passing yards, 383 rushing yards. Got to love the 4 rushing TDs to go with it. Got to drop the interceptions down, but still has 11 total TDs on the season. Now, before we dive into the Denver Broncos and the matchup coming for the Indianapolis Colts this week, we have to look at this. In his division, in the past 2 out of the 3 weeks before the bye, when he played the New England Patriots and the Jets, he was on the road, 28 points against the Jets, 21 points against New England. Had him on smash starts on both those. Those were both hits. Now you're going to get the Denver Broncos here, right? And when you look at the Denver Broncos, they're coming off the bye as well. But look at last time when they're out there, right? What did Jameis Winston do? Jameis Winston threw for 500 yards against the Denver Bronco defense, dropped 39 fantasy points, 4 passing TDs. Now you're going to have Josh Downs back. Now you're going to have Pittman back healthy. Jonathan Taylor getting a little more healthy off the bye. And when you look at the Denver Broncos, when you look at the season, it's going to say, oh, yeah, they're number 7 versus the quarterback, giving up 14.6 points. Number 2 in the red zone, only allowing 239.4 passing yards, which is middle of the pack there, and 1.3 passing TDs. But that was the early start to the season when their defense was lights out. Now, let's look at the Denver Broncos over the past 4 weeks instead of the entire season, right? So the Denver Broncos right now over the past 4 weeks are giving up 17.14 to the quarterback, because you saw Jameis Winston have that big explosive game. They've given up 988 passing yards with a bye. So the 500 yards from Jameis Winston also added to that as well. And they're giving up just touchdowns galore for receivers and passing touchdowns. Now you're going to get the rushing upside as well. Colts, this is a big game for both teams too. They're fighting for their playoff life, and I like Anthony Richardson to smash for 20 points in this game. The second QB that I think that is going to smash this week for 20 plus points is going to be Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. They are headed into the 12th man to face the Seattle Seahawks. Now, 2 out of the past 4 games, he's popped 20 points against the 49ers, and last week against Detroit, that was supposed to be an absolute smash play for passing yards. He only had 15.54 because Josh Jacobs just vultured every touchdown at the goal line with a hat trick. So he kind of dropped his numbers down there. He only had 20 pass attempts as well. I expect that to change here. I expect them to open up the offense against Seattle here. When you're looking at the Seattle Seahawks on the season right now versus the quarterback, the Seattle Seahawks right now give up 16.1 points, which is 14th, 22nd in the red zone, 230 pass yards, which is middle of the pack, and 1.4 passing TDs. And then when you look at the last 4 games here versus Seattle, and they just held Kyler Murray nice with some picks last week as well, but that's Kyler Murray. You know, I don't expect Jordan Love to do that same thing, even though he's thrown 11 picks on the season. That was because he was kind of injured and hampered from injured. He got injured twice. You know, the first game in Brazil, then he got injured again. He's been grinding through it, but he's starting to get healthy. He's getting his mobility back. Because when you look at his rushing yards for 71 rushing yards, that's not a Jordan Love number you expect. That's because he's been hurt by injury, and you're seeing a little more movement in the pocket now. And when you look at Seattle in the last 4 games, they're giving up 15.16 to the quarterback, 888 passing yards a game, which is 222 right there on average. And now you just had Jordan Reed drop a goose egg. You're going to get Romeo Dobbs back out there healthy, which is going to help this offense a lot. He's their possession guy. Christian Watson for the deep ball. I expect Jordan Love to absolutely throttle Seattle, get back in the top of the NFC, and get back in that bye fight they're going to work for here at the end of the stretch here. And he is going to smash this week. Heading over to the running back side, my third smash player, and you should 1,000% have this guy in your lineup as a low-end RB1 this week, is going to be Rico Dowdle. So averaging 12.4 points on the season, snap share at 77%, target share at 9.2, going up more and more. His receiving work is getting better. RB26, so outside the top 10 there. 731 rush yards, 205 receiving yards, almost 1,000 total yards on the season. 152 attempts and almost a 5-yard per carry average, which is awesome to see. He had a 7.28 yards per carry last night against the Cincinnati Bengals for 131 yards, which was awesome to see as well. Love to see Dowdle pop off. That's 2 back-to-back 100-yard games. And against Washington, he had 86. And look at his touches, man. 22 touches, 25 touches, 20 touches. This is a legit RB1 that is out there all the time. And you are going to get the Carolina Panthers this week. The Carolina Panthers on the season rank 32nd, giving up 29.1 points per game to the running back position. They rank 31st in the red zone, giving up 9.7. And they give up, guys, 138.6 yards per game on the ground. That is dead last in the NFL, and 1.2 rushing touchdowns a game. So now let's look at the past 4 weeks for the Carolina Panthers versus the running back, right? They've gotten a little better as the season goes on, but I'm not buying it here at all going into this game. Right now, in the last 4 weeks, they're giving up 24.8. They give up 463 yards. That's about a 115-yard average right there. Rico Dowdle is in for his 3rd straight 100-yard game here. Buy the props. Take everything on this guy. He's going to absolutely smash for 20-plus points this week. My 4th smash start player and 2nd running back is going to be James Conner, who is currently averaging 14.9 points per game. 77% snap share last game, which you like to see because the games before that, he was at 69 and 59. I was getting a little worried there what's going on. And target share is at 11.1%, and he's been getting it done a little bit in the receiving game here lately, which is nice to see. The past 3 out of the 4 games, he's had over 30 yards receiving, and in the first 6 games before that, he only did it once. So you're seeing a little more work for him in the passing game, which you have to like as well. Now, RB13 on the season, so outside the top 10 there. 863 rush yards, 333 receiving, already over 1,000 combined. 201 attempts, 4.3 yards per carry, 6 TDs. You'd like to see those TDs go up a little bit. He's got to find the end zone here. Now, you're going up against the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots season is over. Versus the running back, they rank 16th on the season, giving up 22.8. But in the red zone, this is where James Conner is going to thrive. They rank 29th, giving up 8.2 points, and they allow 111.1 rushing yards, which is the 4th worst in the NFL, and they give up an 80% chance for 1 touchdown to the running back. Now, in the past 4 weeks, so that's on the season. Let's look at the past 4 weeks because I like to take those numbers better. Big Draft Energy has showed me this, and I like this idea a lot. So, past 4 weeks, New England Patriots, right? We're going to pull up the running back here. Versus the running back, let me get my chart. They're getting 17.43 points per game. That's what they're giving up. 268 rush yards, and they've had their bye in there as well. So, minus that as 1. This is going to be an absolute smash game for James Conner. Last week, coming off 22 points for Seattle. Like to see that. Seattle's a way better rush defense than New England. He should smash again for 20 points this week. Heading over to the wide receiver side, my 5th smash start player of the week. First wide receiver is going to be Cortland Sutton, currently averaging 13.9 points. Snap share at 94%. Gotta love that. Never comes off the field. Target share at 25.4%, which is in the top 20 there as well. This guy is getting targeted like a monster this season. Wide receiver 12 on the year, so outside the top 10 there. 104 targets, 63 receptions, 846 receiving yards, even some rushing yards at his old age. That's pretty nice. Not really that old, but 27, 28 years old. 5 total TDs, and you're going to get the Indianapolis Colts off the bye. So if you've been subscribed to my channel at all, there's 3 defenses that are part of my fantasy football pot of gold, and that is the Indianapolis Colts. They are one of them. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the wide receiver. They can't stop the tight end. They can't stop anything. So on the season versus the wide receiver, they give up 32.1 points per game, which is 17th. They give up 6.6 in the red zone, which is 24th, 152 passing yards, which is bottom 15, and a 70% chance of a touchdown, for 1 touchdown for the wide receiver. Now, when you look at the last 4 games here, The Indianapolis Colts have given up 26.6 to the wide receiver, and that's with their bye at 400 yards as well. So you got to look at it as about 150, I'd say 150, 140 yards per game off the top of my head for math, just receiving alone. Now, Cortland Sutton, over the past, since week 8, guys, since Bo Nix just found his groove, right? 17, 23, 19, 14, 29, 16. He's averaging 10 targets a game and about 90 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns out of the past 6, about a 50% chance you're looking at right there. And this is going to be a big game right here. Both teams trying to stay alive. Broncos, obviously, with a better record. Colts trying to fight to get back in. Cortland Sutton is going to absolutely feast at home at Mile High in this game. He is going to smash. Smash start number 6, wide receiver number 2 that you should get in your lineup for the fantasy football playoffs is DJ Moore. Now, I know the Bears just struggled versus my 49ers. We kind of mollywopped them out the building. Even in a game that should have been pass-heavy script from behind, the 49ers had their number. Now, DJ Moore on the season is 13.4, snap share 91%. That's wide receiver 1 numbers, 25.4 target share, just like Cortland Sutton in the top 20. That's exactly what you want. Wide receiver 14 overall, so outside the top 10 there. 104 targets, 68 receptions, 712 yards. Gets a little rushing work, 36 yards. Got to like that as well. 5 total TDs on the season. Now, you're going to get the Minnesota Vikings here, guys. The Minnesota Vikings, right? So, first off, let's just go back and look at the last game that was literally 3 weeks ago versus the Vikings. What did DJ Moore do? 7 for 7, 106 yards and a touchdown, 27 fantasy points. Absolute smash play there. And I had him on a smash play that week. That was a hit. Now, let's look at the Minnesota Vikings on the season right now. Dude, they rank 32nd versus the wide receiver. Dead last, giving up 41 points. 30th in the red zone, giving up 7.7. 192.4 passing yards, which is dead last in the NFL. And 1.1 touchdowns to the wide receiver. That's on the season. Let's look at the last 4 weeks. The last 4 weeks, they rank 30th, giving up 43.78, even worse than their season average on points per game to the wide receiver. They're also giving up 899 passing yards, guys, in the last 4 weeks, which is dead last. And do you know who's second behind that? They are at 900 yards in 4 weeks. Second behind them is 737 for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's 170 yards less. Now you get the Monday night game. You get the last laugh. Get DJ Moore into your lineup. He is going to smash this week. Heading over to the tight end side, smash starts are a little different with tight ends. I mean, I couldn't really stay outside the top 10, so I went with number 8, and then the next one will be outside the top 10. And it's hard for a tight end to get 20 points either way this season. So these are my favorite plays that aren't superstar, top 5, top 3 tight ends here. So player number 7, tight end number 1 is going to be David Njoku of the Cleveland Browns, who has been absolutely destroying fantasy football with targets in the past 2 weeks. So right now he's averaging 13.4. Snap share last week, 90%. Gotta love that. Never comes off the field. Target share at 22% for a tight end is number 6 in the NFL. Tight end 8 overall, 87 targets, 56 receptions, 439 receiving yards. Doesn't have any rushing yards, obviously tight end. 5 total TDs. Now you get the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Massive shootout game potential here. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the tight end guys are dead last, 32nd. They give up 16.3 points per game to the tight end position. They're 7th in the red zone, obviously, because their front 7 is very good. They stop the run very well. That's what happens when the field shrinks and you get towards the red zone. Now, when you're thinking about that, does that really affect David Njoku with red zone numbers with his size and athletic ability? To me, it does not. And they also give up 78.1 yards per game to the tight end position on the season, which is also dead last in the NFL. Now, let's look at the past 4 weeks here and see if they've gotten any better, right? So on the season, giving up 16.3. Last 4 weeks, they're giving up 16 points exactly. So nothing has really changed from the whole season to the last 4 weeks. And they've given up 317 yards in the past 4 games, which is 3rd worst in the NFL. And David Njoku has seen 30 targets combined over the past 2 games, averaging 15. Get this guy into your lineup. He is going to be a smash play with very, very high touchdown upside this week. Last but not least, smash player number 8, tight end number 2 is going to be Pat Freiermuth. Now he's averaging 9.2 points per game on the season. Snap share last week was 62%. Even with Pickens out, you kind of want to see that a little higher. I expect that to be higher here against Philly. Target share at 14.3%, but he had a low target share to start, and now that the superstar wide receiver is out, it's become more. So he's tied in 12 overall, outside the top 10 there. 50 targets, 44 receptions, 470 yards, no rushing yards, 5 total TDs. Now you're going to get the Philadelphia Eagles. And when you're looking at that on your Yahoo or your Sleeper or whatever it is, it's going to show that it's red. Do not buy into that, because this is why we do this. This is why you listen to the information. This is why you subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to give you the backdrop of why. So the Eagles are 12th versus the tight end overall, giving up 10.7. So right there, you're already thinking, how's he going to smash when they have a very good defense versus the tight end? They rank 29th in the red zone. The touchdown upside is very high. They give up 41.2 yards, which is middle of the pack, and a 30% chance of a touchdown to the tight end. But that was starting off the season. They were a number 1 to 2 defense versus the tight end all the way. Let's look at the past 4 weeks and see what's happened. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles in the past 4 weeks are giving up 16.35 points to the tight end position and touchdowns galore. This is a defense that has started to struggle. Now they have George Pickens out. And if you look at Pat Freiermuth last week when George Pickens was out, he gets a touchdown across the middle. Against the Bengals, he gets 18 points, finds another touchdown. Back-to-back games with touchdowns. You get the Philadelphia Eagles in a big game with, you already have George Pickens. You know, Mike Tomlin said he's doubtful, and there's a bunch of reports that have already said that he's out. So pretty much count him out for the week. He's going to be the focal point of the offense besides the run game. The smash for 20 points is hard because he hasn't hit it all week, but I still like him as a smash start play kind of for me, because he's going to be the focal point of this offense, and he's probably on some waiver wires. If he's out there, go grab him. He is a very, very startable tight end this week that I think is going to blow up. Bang! Thanks for rocking with me today. That is the end of the episode. That is my Week 15 fantasy football playoff smash starts that I think that are going to go for 20 points this week. Remember, the tight end position is very hard. And these are players that are outside the top 10 overall, not superstar names. I don't like doing that. I don't like saying Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, these guys are going to smash. That's not what I like to do. Now, before we head out, guys, make sure you smash that like. Make sure you smash that subscription. Turn that bell on. It helps me out a ton. I cannot, again, thank you guys so much throughout the season. It's been amazing the support you guys have shown me. And if you guys want to see my waiver wire for tonight, which is a huge video you should check out, and defense and kickers that you could even grab off the waiver wire, I dropped all those for you as well. I'm going to try and get my QB, running back, wide receiver, and tight end out today and tomorrow combined, so you have them before the Thursday night kickoff for the Rams 49ers. And that's it for me. If you guys have any comments or questions as well that does not have to pertain to this video, you can drop them in there. I try to answer every single one of them. And that's it for me in this video, guys. Sleazeball out. Hope to see you guys in the next one.